I do not have an intro, but I have a brand new video for you. In this video, we are continuing our Ibex cliffs, which is basically a cliffside with an Ibex enclosure on it. The idea being that people can walk over the pier that you just saw me build, and attached to this pier and to the cliffs is a restaurant, which is what we're looking at in this video. The last video was the Ibex enclosure itself, and if you watch closely the first few seconds, you can see that this Ibex enclosure is not there in this video. The reason is that I actually built the restaurant first and then I built the Ibex enclosure, but when I looked at the videos, I thought it would make more sense to switch it around in order of posting, because I feel like with the restaurant I definitely wanted to do a real-time walkthrough part, but with the Ibexes there's not a lot to walk through. There is literally just the pier that the visitors can see it from, so I didn't feel like this was really needing a walkthrough, and it would do a lot better with cinematics, right? So I didn't want to make a walkthrough of this restaurant first and then leave out the Ibexes. Like, that also felt weird because it is attached to each other, and then not have a walkthrough in the next video. Like, that just kind of felt messy, so I just kind of switched it around, and I don't think it's distracting or anything. You can barely see the backdrop of it in this video because we are mostly focusing on interior, which was so much fun to build, by the way. It's a very, very modern restaurant, but before we get into talking about it, because I don't want to forget saying it, this took me like 8 hours. So it took me a long time. It was so much fun to build, and I built this like over a month ago, so pretty long ago, but yeah, like I said, it was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing this interior, and also something I have to mention is that today I'm just not with it. This is the millionth time I'm trying to record this voiceover. I think I'll keep it fairly short because I'm super hungry, but I wanna cook while the video is processing. If you don't know what that means, it's just if you edit a video, it takes some time to when you then save it to get an actual video file out of it, it takes a while. So I kind of want to use that time to cook, but obviously I have to finish it first to start cooking, and I'm so hungry. Maybe that's why I can't concentrate. So if I cut this voiceover a bit short, I hope you're okay with that, because I'm really not with it today and I don't want to restart it. But yeah, I'll try to talk a little bit about this because I actually do really, really like how this restaurant turned out. We have this huge glass front that is kind of looking onto the water. I mean, there's no water there right now, but it will look onto the water of the river. This is still located on the backside of the cliffs, so it's kind of like around the corner from the lynx habitat. And then the pier goes out, and from this pier you see the Ibex habitat. So the Ibexes are on the other side of the mountain that the lynx are on. So yeah, what was it called? If you can, like three-dimensional thinking, or like spatial thinking. I don't know. If you're good at that, then congrats, and if not, you will see it in the real-time part. So but yeah, that's where it's located. There's still a lot of empty area in front of it, and I have an idea for that, but I want to take some time to build that because I really like my idea, but I know that it will take some time, and I know that I want to build everything around it first because I don't want to. I'm sorry if you just heard. There's a fly in my room, and it's really close to the mic. If you could hear the fly, that's weird, but okay. Wow, that threw me off. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, I'm so hungry. Okay, I was talking about the restaurant and how... Oh yeah, I will want to build everything around the idea that I have for the in-between area first, because I don't want to change anything about this area once it's done, because it will kind of take some planning. And that's all the teaser I'm going to give you, but I really like the idea that I have for it, and I hope it's going to work out. And yeah, oh my god, I said that this video was 8 hours long. When I first sped it up, I think it was over an hour, And I think I'm really getting good at cutting out the parts that are not needed. And this just reminded me because I was trying different pieces of glass for this at first. And then I cut out all the different types of glass that I tried and didn't use to make this more watchable and more enjoyable. And I mean, I kind of feel like saying this because I remember when I first started watching Planet Zoo videos, which is basically how I found the game. Or not found the game, but found out that I actually would like this game. And I started playing myself. I was like, how do these people just know right away what they want to use for everything? But now that I get to edit this myself and like know how I build, I know that you can just kind of edit out the searching process sometimes. That takes a lot of time, and so it looks like you're on it and you know what you're doing, but that's not always the case. You can just like remove the parts where you didn't know what you were doing. And I just feel like mentioning this because I don't know who's watching this and thinking like, oh god, I never know like what to use right away, because these videos can make it look like that, but it's definitely not, at least for me, it's definitely not the case. I still look for pieces and I still look for ideas. Talking about ideas, I didn't have an inspiration for this. I just came up with it. I know that it kind of looks very boxy from the outside. It does look modern, but it does look boxy. That's kind of the downside to a lot of modern things. But unfortunately in this video, I don't think you can see me build the kind of what's it called, the signage outside, but I do like how it looks, and it just uses the in-game font, which I'm really happy about. I have a lot of funds downloaded from the workshop, and I know that there's this really famous font creator for the workshop, but I never get around to use them. I always either use the in-game fonts or it's no fonts at all, and I try to get better with that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really use a lot of blueprints in general. It's not that I don't want to use them, it's just that I forget they exist all the time. So yeah, I barely ever use them. I kind of plan on, however, having a little bit of a document for everything, for every blueprint that I use in any of the videos. I kind of want to make a document so that looking at it later on, or someone who wants to use those blueprints can find them all in one place. So kind of like a blueprints recommended, and plus a video where I show how I use the blueprint, if that makes sense. Just so they're easier to find, and it's also kind of a little bit of a shout out to the people who did put it on the workshop. So if that'll be helpful, you can definitely let me know. I mean, I'll probably just do it because I like I like to have things in order, but yeah, I mean, if this would be helpful to you, I mean, it's not now, because I think ever since I started this channel, I used like literally 2 blueprints, but I mean, even though I'm not an avid blueprint user, I think that they will still pile up because they are a thing in the game, and sometimes it's hard to find what you're looking for, and it's also kind of hard to sometimes like change the blueprint to the place where it fits what you're building, and I think that maybe seeing that could really help someone. So long story short, I'm planning to do that, and maybe I'll do that while I'm cooking. I mean, now it's only 2. If I start doing it now, like, I will have that PDF somewhere, or the document or whatever, but if I start it later, I'll have to go for everything and find everything that I ever use. So it would be smart to start now that I don't have a lot of blueprints, right? So look at me planning. Speaking of planning, I think the next video will be the base game zoo, and maybe potentially I will make a video of the tropical zoo, where it's just like talking and planning for a while, because I do think that that is also kind of beneficial to see sometimes, because with big zoo projects, you know how Delay Designer does a lot of zoo tours. I'm always like, I want to see the planning process of this. Like, I want to know how someone came up with where everything is located and how everything just like flows into each other. So I think planning stuff is definitely helpful to see sometimes, and I kind of think of doing that because I do need a better plan. I do have a like a drawn out plan for that one, but it doesn't help me enough, right? So I'm planning to do that, but that will take a while. So the next video is probably going to be in the base game zoo. That is a zoo that I only use base game pieces in. It's kind of a challenge for myself, if you don't know. And then we will see. Planning for this park, we will have a big enclosure in the next video for this one, and it will be very natural. And that's all I can say. Big enclosure, big animal, and it'll be the next video of this series. And I've already planned it, but I haven't built it yet. I might build it later today. I mean, it is already the evening, but I have nothing going on tomorrow. I wanted to play video games with a friend today, but he has COVID, and he doesn't know if he'll be good to play a game today. So, maybe I'll have more time today. But after I cook, I'm literally so hungry I can't even think. So also, I'm very sorry for any grammatical errors that I'm making. I mean, I'm not a native speaker, and you probably hear it too. And it's so funny sometimes because I will listen back to the voiceovers that I make, and I hear grammatical errors that I would totally see or hear with other people, but I don't while I'm speaking, and it's really interesting. And it also kind of, I mean, I'm not insecure about my English, but it kind of gives you this it sounds like I'm worse than I can be in my head, if that makes sense. So that can really mess with you, and the more you think about it, the worse it gets. So I'm trying not to think about it. I don't think I've ever been a person to be scared to speak English. I think a lot of German people have that sometimes. That there's also this joke online, it's like German people are like, oh, I only speak a little bit of English, and their English is pretty good. I do think that kind of comes from the German language is kind of like, I don't want to say harsh sounding, but we have a lot of hard edges in the language. So this very soft and flowy way that you speak English, some people are kind of embarrassed to do it because it sounds, I don't know. Because it sounds different, I don't know, but people are sometimes a bit embarrassed to do that, and I do think that that's why a lot of, especially older Germans, kind of struggle with it because they feel embarrassed when they speak, which luckily now that everyone is starting English very early in school, like we start year 1, that kind of gets out of the way. But I've never been this way because I have family that lives in Ireland, so I heard a lot of English. I didn't learn it through that or anything, but I was never scared to speak to them, and I never, funnily enough, no, that's not true. To this day, I'm very timid to speak to my aunt who grew up in Germany. And now she lives in Ireland, and she does speak German. So I can't speak German to her, and it's not that I prefer speaking German necessarily, but for some reason with her, she's the only person in the world I feel judged when my English isn't perfect. Like with her daughter, I'll speak English all day, but with her, I'm always like, oh no. But that is, I think, the reason that I was never that scared. And then also, I'm one of those people that will watch any movie, read any book, just in the original language of when it's English. But so yeah, I don't think I'm scared to speak English, but listening to yourself back is always weird. But listening to yourself back speaking a foreign language, that can really get into your head. I will hear that there's a grammatical error in there. And I'm like, I wish I could correct it. But, because you kind of, I don't know how to say this, but you feel like I'm decently good at this, and then you hear yourself make mistakes that you didn't catch while you were doing it. That is really freaking me out sometimes. But I mean, it's not that bad. It's not keeping me up at night or anything, but it's it is what it is, right? So, yeah, like I said, the exterior looks kind of wonky, but the interior I honestly really like. I was really pleased with myself there. It is this like split level thing. There is this like elevated section that is kind of rounded off. It has this like this section with the stones that are like kind of decorational. And then it has another level that can look down onto the level. So it's 2 split levels basically. And the staircase obviously doesn't work because it's made out of plaster pieces. But the good thing with the restaurant is that the people don't actually have to be able to get there with paths. They will just appear at the table. So it doesn't really matter for the restaurant, but technically they can't go up there. But they will still, you know, be at those tables. And that was enough for me. And a staircase with the in-game path would not have fitted there. So, yeah. But, I mean, the plaster pieces were really doing a fantastic job looking like stairs. Like, in between, I actually forgot that wasn't path. Like, there was a point where I tried to delete it with the path tool. But yeah, that's just how that is. And I kind of fitted a little bit of a toilet in there. I just... Because don't you hate it when you are at a restaurant and they don't have a restroom? That is so annoying to me. But so yeah, I really wanted to have a restroom in there. We aren't playing with like any settings turned on, so we could have an entire park without any restrooms and nobody would care. But I do still kind of want to make this somewhat realistic, right? Like if we were just doing it for the funs of it and build enclosure after enclosure, we could do that, and there's nothing wrong with doing it, but I still kind of want it to feel like a realistic zoo, even with all the settings turned off. Like, that's the cool thing about sandbox games, like you make your own rule, like, of what is okay and what isn't. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about this. I'm so sorry. It's not just that I'm very hungry. I'm also kind of I have a lot of back pain today because, like I said, I started a new job yesterday. It's a couple of days ago when you're hearing this, but when I'm recording this, it's yesterday. Whatever. So I started a new job and it's fun, but I never had a job where I had just... That's not true. I did have a job where I had to stand all day, but I haven't done that in a while, so standing up all day was kind of hard, but I get back pains very, very easily, so yeah, kind of my shoulders really hurt now, and that also is kind of throwing me off. It's not too bad, and it's not something that's going to bother me, and like I said, I did work as a waitress for forever, so I know that goes away when you work a lot. So I'm not worried about that by any means, and it's not too bad. It's not like I'm in excruciating pain or whatever, but it kind of messes with you when you feel kind of like physically you feel tired, right? You know what I mean? So I'm physically tired and I'm very hungry. But I really just, I don't know. I don't want to just like leave you off to like half-finished voiceover, because also I don't know if there's something in the video that I still really want to talk about that will come up later. But yeah. Okay, oh, we're changing the front of this because up to this point we used the glass panels that are like the pieces that snap to the grid pieces, and now we use non-grid pieces. Didn't really have a reason. I just didn't want the black frames of it to be on there. So it has nothing to do with the fact that they snap to grid. But there's more non-grid glass pieces now in the game. This is obviously built a long time before the last update. Like I said in the last video, I did pre-record a lot of things before I started this channel. So this build is older than this channel, if you will, because I wanted to just start building on something and figuring out if the process of recording and everything would like throw me off or make it less fun for me, because having fun with this channel and just showing off what I did and sharing the the joys of a zoo was definitely my absolute number one priority and thing that I wanted to achieve with starting a channel and showing my builds there. So I wanted to know if it was fun, because there would have been no point to this if I started it and then hated it right from the beginning, or if it threw me off from building and playing the game, because I love this game, and it would be really sad, I think, if I started a channel on it and then realized that the channel made it less fun for me. But I'm so lucky that it didn't. I'm really happy with how this channel is going. I mean, if you think about it, like, it's almost only been a couple of weeks and there's already almost 100 people on here, which is crazy. And I mean, not that 100 is, like, in the big scheme of things, obviously 100 isn't a lot, but to someone who has never done this before, it's like, wow, really? 100 people? That's so cool. And also a lot of nice comments already, which I didn't expect to kind of happen so, like, early on, but it's so much fun and I really love it. I hope I can keep up the schedule of posting 2 times a week. I've already said this in the last video, but in case you didn't watch it, I really, really hope that I can keep up posting 2 times a week with the new job that I have. It's actually a job at the zoo. I'm not sure if I said it, but I do work at a zoo, but I can't really talk a lot about it because I just signed a thing that's like not talking about any information that I received there or whatever. And I don't really know what that entails, so I just want to be kind of, you know, like, careful with that. I don't know what I can talk about or whatever. There's nothing like going wrong or anything, but it's a very typical thing, like, that you don't talk about that. So I don't want to go overboard and talk about it. And also, with zoos, it's also a thing of, like, if I were to tell you, like, oh, we did this and this with that and that animal, it would be pretty easy to figure out a city and figure out where I work, and that is kind of scary to me. Like, I don't want that on the internet necessarily, like, for someone to know where they could potentially find me. That's kind of weird. So I kind of want to be kind of careful with that. Oh, this right now that you can see me do right now was such a fix to a problem that I didn't know how to fix. So I just put a pillow there, which ended up looking good, happily, but it was kind of a lazy fix, let's be honest. But yeah, okay, now you can see me kind of place some foliage. This there's a lot of cuts now because this piece was kind of supposed to be sort of a gateway outside, and then I did get rid of it, and there was a lot going on there. But I did use this thing because now it's kind of like a green wall, or what is it called, a living wall or whatever, that is inside the restaurant that I think looks really cool. It doesn't have a very prominent spot, unfortunately, but if you know where to look, I think it looks cool. Actually, I've been to a hotel. Oh my god, I'm sorry. My voice is giving up. But I've been to a hotel once that had a green wall, or a living wall, that was like up the entirety of the hotel basically, and it had a glass elevator, so you could like see this entire like living wall. It was so cool, and I always have to think about that when I see these types of walls. And you can see it now. It's kind of hanging over the entrance of the restaurant. And these burger pieces, I'm not sure if they are from a free update or if they came with the Euro pack, but I never used them before, but they came in really handy for this, and I kind of put them into some more pastel colors instead of like the bright neon colors, which I'm not sure there's pastel neon signs, but I made them happen for this. And we put in some ATM machines, which is something that I always forget in every zoo, and I'm so happy I'm not playing franchise because that would probably break me. But I try to remember them more often because honestly, I love, this is a weird thing to love, but I love when there's ATM machines in places other than a bank. Because it is kind of stressful to be somewhere and be like, I wish I could get cash, but I can't. So I do think that ATM machines are really nice. I don't know. But yeah, no, I like when there's an ATM machine in places like this, because it's a small weird thing that we have to have in places, you know? I'm sorry, this fly, it's like it wants to be in the video. But yeah, this wall, I'm actually really happy. This was like first try, it just happened and it looked good and I was happy with it. That never happens. I'm so bad with building fences. I'll say it again and again. I can do fences, but this I could. And the animal that will be living on the other side of the fence is actually that we're going to have in the next video. Not the next video, but the next video of this series. And now I think we're almost at the end. We're building a little bit of a gate. So this is kind of what connects the restaurant to the pier. You walk kind of through this. It's kind of random because there's no functionality to it, but it is there, and I do think it looks cool. And yes, I think, I'm not sure, I kind of want to name this whole area kind of like the Ibex Cliffs or the Cliffside or whatever, even though I think there will be more things located on cliffs, but just to like tie these two things together, I kind of want to name them the Ibex Cliffs or the Cliffside something. I still don't have a proper name for the park either. Like, I keep calling it Cliffside, so I don't know. For some reason, in my head, the word Cliffside seems to be coming up a lot, right? Now that I talk about it, so maybe that is supposed to be the name of it. Maybe it wants to be named this. Okay, who might argue with the zoo? But yeah, I think something along those lines might be it. But it seems so uncreative. It really doesn't seem like a creative thing to name a zoo. Cliffside Zoo, right? But it's definitely the name of this restaurant because I put it onto the sign, so can't change that ever. And this, I don't even know if you really saw this, but I really like that this little sitting booth right there. It has a glass roof. It has a roof that kind of not a glass roof. Okay, it has a glass wall that goes into the roof, so it's kind of like the glass goes around the corner, which I love. Not specifically there, I just love it in general when that is a feature in architecture. Like, give me a glass that goes around a corner and I'm there for it. Like, that is so cool. That's actually something that I do a lot for my videos. I do look at a lot of like general architecture, not specifically zoo architecture, because I don't struggle that much to find ideas for the enclosures or how to set them up, but like that is actually the part that I have the most ideas for. But when it comes to architecture, I feel like looking at existing architecture really helps you to kind of not just get ideas, but also get a general understanding that helps you when you actually are building for yourself, like without a direct inspiration that you're building after. It still is helpful to have a general understanding how these things are set up. So yeah, I guess I would definitely recommend looking at just architecture. Just type in architecture into Pinterest and like think about, like, look at the pictures and think, how could I use this for my zoo? How could I incorporate this into whatever building? And trust me, for me it works. It does do wonders to look at this stuff and think about, like, how can I use what I'm seeing for my zoo? And also, like I said, gives you a general idea of how certain architecture is set up. Like for this, I would obviously look at modern architecture, and if you want to build like a very classical, somewhat old city zoo, then I would say look at, like, I don't know, like classic European architecture or something like that, or classic whatever, wherever your place is located. But that stuff really helps me, and I do think it I've never really heard anyone say that, like go off of general architecture. I think a lot of people will give you the tip of looking at Google to figure out your exhibits. And that is great. I do that too, but that's not the only thing I do. So I kind of wanted to share that tip. Also, it just came to my mind. I didn't really plan before this voiceover, but I mean, the voiceover part is almost over. So I see you in a second, actually, to tour this in the real-time part. All right. We are at the restaurant. Let's just jump down here and look at this beautiful, arguably a little bit boxy restaurant, but I did want it to be that boxy because this is a very modern zoo. So this obviously is going to become a way sign. And like I said, I will put the actual directions on them as billboards. So these are little billboards. And I've not come up with a billboard design for this park yet. So I want all of them to fit together. So they're still empty, but you can kind of already tell how this is created. So let's just walk up into the restaurant. By the way, the guests should be able to come here. I'm not sure if they're going to. I've just connected up this path because I didn't want people walking around while I was still building here. But they should be coming up shortly and show us that the restaurant actually works. So this is the sign I was actually talking about, that I really like how it looks. And all of this looks still really... Oh, see? Now the guests are coming up. All of this is still pretty empty, but we will talk about that in the end of this walkthrough. So we walk in, look at the cute burger. And this is the sort of living wall. We look over and see our little restroom, and this is actually the restaurant. So we have this little bit of a split floor thing. We have these ATM machines with a little bit of privacy dividing it. So let's go up to the spot level thing, and this is actually what I was talking about. This is like a glass corner, so you can look at the sky when you're sitting there. And these are just some regular booths. I think this is a very American thing, but I don't think it does not fit this. And our first guests arrived, and there's some running to see the Ibex. This is kind of the look that you have when you sit here, you look out onto the pier. You might be able to spot some Ibexes over here. And here you can go and order. Hello. And over here, this thing, in case you're wondering, this kind of, with its shape and everything, reminded me of those self-order things at McDonald's. So I kind of want to create something that looks like a self-order menu here. And this is kind of like a bar thing. And I'm just now realizing that it misses a piece there. Okay, no, we're not going to fix that now. But we will fix that later. Some more seating. These are the lamps from the Europack. And I think they look really nice, sunken into the floor like that. We did, not show in the video, but I did make a better ceiling for this. It looked really wonky with the path and everything. Because it does have a path, because I didn't realize before that you could put those... Oh no, I did something, hold on. I didn't realize that you could put the restaurant tables without a path. But let's go upstairs. Like I said, these are not usable, but people are still going to show up here because it's part of the restaurant. I really like the skylight. It's really big. On the other side, it's tinted glass, so it looks cooler from the outside, but you still get a lot of light up in here because I didn't want it to feel like crammed up here, like almost like an attic, you know? And you still get a cool view onto the pier and down into the rest of the restaurant. And that is that. So let's go down quickly. I keep jumping on the, I'm still in the, what? Rosemary is having a baby. That reminds me of something. Okay, now we're fixed. Okay, so I forgot that I did it like that, but it's because the stairs, whatever. So these people are running outside the restaurant. Is the restaurant not working? I wonder. Okay, we'll figure that out later. But now we're going to go see the Ibexes like all of these people do. There's a little bit of a statue here. It's going to say something like Ibex Cliffs on here. And we walk past it. And this is a little bit of a gate here. And here, another look into the restaurant. I think it's really nice. It's not very private, but nice. Some benches. And I was considering putting a little bit of peak holes in here into the other, into the next enclosure, but I decided against it. I just felt like the people would flock up here and that would be weird. So I decided against it. This is a nice big open space. I do think open space tend to kind of look boring a lot of times. And I definitely want to do something about this wall because it also looks kind of boring and too bland. But in general, this felt natural to have an open space here. A little bit of, like, so that people wouldn't look at this, like, boring rock wall. I put this there. These will obviously hold information about the Ibexes. They have some seating integrated into it. And then a lot of other seating here. There's another one of those here with a little bit of a donation box. And the Ibexes can actually swim around this entire thing if they wanted to. Like, this is actually the fence that keeps them away. But they don't swim that far, but they love swimming around here. And yeah, that is the look into our little Ibex enclosure. This is actually the entrance. You can see from here. But from the entrance, this all blends in so well that it doesn't look like something. It looks like just a naturey path, which is not a path, a river, which is nice. And yeah, this is what our Ibexes look like. It's climbing up here. And this guy up there, I love this. This is the scarecrow thing that they can eat from. Oh my god, there's so many people here. This is the scarecrow thing that they can eat off. And it looks like someone's stuck up there, like, hiking, and I really like that little thing. And look at them. They're so beautiful, and they have such scary eyes. And this is actually the tunnel that they go through to go into their indoor section, which we're going to look at in a second. But yeah, there's a lot of, like, roots growing out in there. So very, very detailed. I did say that I feel like it's kind of overdone and overcluttered, but someone commented that it's not overcluttered, so now I'm more confident about it. And also a little bit of a waterfall here. But now let's just run to get to the indoor section, and also talk about the plans for this little very bare area that we have here right now. So now that we walk through it, this right here will be kind of the idea that I already have, that I didn't want to spoil too much, but it'll be kind of an eventful area right here, but I don't want to start it before I have everything else figured out. So on this side, that's where we will build next. So kind of behind this fence here, and it will go up here, the path, the general path. Maybe we put another animal over to this side, but this is where it connects up to the links. So if you walk up here, and if we kind of, let's go out here for a second. If you look at this, here might be another animal. Here's where we built next, and this area is planned already. So, and this will kind of stay mountainous and get some more green in there. But now let's get back into the explore mode. And now we make a little bit of a backstage tour. So there's, I don't know if, yeah, you can see it kind of here. This is the guest area, so they can't walk over it. So they don't, but sometimes they stand there and look stupid. But hold on, I messed up. Right. Okay, so now we get a little bit of a backstage tour for the Ibexes, and then we're going to finish up this video. So we walk in here. Again, this was built before we had the conservation pack, but I added some windows which weren't there previously, but I do really like how they look, and just give some natural light in here. These are the little boxes that the Ibexes live in. Nothing fancy, because, I mean, not a lot of people are going to look at this, and this is also the indoor section of the links. So obviously we will put a door in here, because I don't think the lynx, or it's not that bad that the lynx can smell the ibex. I don't think the ibex should be smelling the lynx. And this is actually the staff gate. So the staff enters here. This is the indoor section for the lynx, for the ibex, and this is the tunnel that gets into their enclosure. And I know this is kind of unrealistic, but when I planned it, I didn't think this tunnel was going to be that long. So, but yeah. Overall, I think, okay, let me find a nice place to, I will show you a nice place to finish this. Let's climb up here. Hello, Mr. Ibex. And we're going to finish up here. Alright. I'm sorry I had the menu on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed both the restaurant and this ibex enclosure. I really, really hope that I will see you around another time. And I wish you have a wonderful day. And now I finally get to cook and have dinner. I'm so hungry. So, yes, see you next time. Bye!